Good evening all. I'm going to start with a small confession. I voted Conservative. Yeah, I'm really sorry about that, genuinely, and I can't take back my vote. But I can stand here today and tell you why it's really important that you support your junior doctors now. Because you've heard from doctors and you've heard from politicians, and yes, you should know which of those that you can trust. But just in case, here it is from the point of view of a patient. So you've already kind of heard that this is part of the government's plan for a 7-day NHS. Now I promise you we already have one, because I was admitted to hospital the Sunday before last, and I stayed in hospital for 3 days, receiving the most excellent care from fantastic junior doctors, fantastic nurses in a world-class health service that is free and its point of use. And our doctors are trying to protect that. The government says they want 7 days of care, so they must mean 7 days of routine care, although if you watch Parliament they don't seem to know what they want. But let's assume they want 7 days of routine care. They've provided no logical, viable means of how they are going to provide the doctors, the nurses, the porters, the receptionists, the cleaners, the resources or the funding for what they plan to do. Instead, all they have demonstrated is that they plan to stretch 5 days services across 7 days. Now, forgive me, maybe I'm naive, but I feel like the privately educated Mr. Hunt was probably taught that 5 and 0 is still 5 and it's not 7. And if he's having any trouble with that, I feel quite sure our state school teachers would be more than happy to oblige him with a lesson in rudimentary maths and statistics while we're at it, because he's not much top at those either. No, it was only recently that I realised something. Our doctors are bigger heroes than we ever imagined. They have been protecting us from the enormous gaps in their rotas for years. They have not been trying to hide it from us. They are so professional that up until this point, when it's come to boiling point, we had no idea how bad things had gone on the front line. What heroes to let us get to that point. So anyway, obviously they've also been privatising our hospitals, and I have to point out at this stage it's not just been the previous this government, it was the previous government as well. Our hospitals have been being closed, our A&E departments have been being closed, and whilst that's been happening, they've been telling us that A&E waiting times have been getting longer. Well, of course they have, you've been closing our hospitals, you moron. Now our doctors are here today fighting for the very future of the NHS. These are people who truly believe in a universal healthcare system, free at its point of use, available for all, rich or poor. Their fight is not about money, and the Conservatives calling them greedy is just ridiculous. Those are the people, half of whom fiddled expenses, many of whom got dodgy tax returns, and they're there telling the heroes of our country who get paid less than them that they're greedy. Yeah, okay. Right, the simple fact is that good health is a luxury that is not afforded to all. However, healthcare should not be a luxury. It should be available to all. Because illness and disability are not choices. However, our government is currently choosing to underfund and undermine our publicly funded healthcare service. And I'd like to take a second to remember that our NHS was set up after the Second World War, because the heroes of our country wanted it. That is what they wanted, and it would be an offence to their memory to let it fail now. At least one of my medical conditions is genetic, which means I've been battling with my health since the very day I was born. And in just my own family, my mother's been saved when she's had pneumonia and meningitis. My grandma would have died without her triple bypass. My grandpa would have died from cancer, and my granddad would have died from his appendicitis. Because you see, if the NHS fails, it's not a few people that'll be affected. It's literally millions of people. NHS is like an elastic band, and anyone with any real interest in protecting it would be working on relieving the tension, not stretching it more when it's already at breaking point. Last week, during one of his chats with junior doctors, Mr. Hunt said that he would give an extra 5,000 junior doctors to help with the rota problems, but he failed to explain where exactly he's planning on getting these doctors from, whilst he imposes a contract so toxic that our own dedicated doctors are leaving the country and profession in their droves. So, I have three... Yeah, hang on. Sorry. I have three appeals. Firstly, to the public. Thank you for everyone who's here today, but I need you all to get really firmly behind your doctors. This really is everybody's fight. Your doctors are fighting for the future of the NHS, and if you want it to remain, you need to fight for it too. Because they are fighting, they are speaking for the NHS now. And I'm really sorry if you've had an appointment or a procedure that has been postponed. I have also had a procedure that has been postponed. I was due to have hip surgery next week. It's been postponed as a result of this stroke. But I'm not angry, because our doctors, they need to be allowed to speak now, before there is no NHS left to speak for. Now, to Mr. Hunt, I know you're probably not listening because you're not very good at that, but I'll give it a go anyway. You need to get back to the negotiating table with our doctors and sort this out. Because you must know that this contract doesn't make any logical sense. So do the right thing. You need to work with our doctors to work on a contract that helps to fill rota gaps, not create them. You need to work on a contract that does not discriminate against people based on their gender or on disability. You need to work on a contract that encourages people to come and work in our wonderful healthcare system rather than leaving it. And I somewhat suspect that you'll just ignore that. So, when you're looking for those 5,000 doctors, I suggest that you look in the land of Oz. Now, I mean the fictional one, obviously not Australia, because that's where our doctors are going. But whilst you're there, perhaps you could ask the wizard for a brain, so that you might see sense on this. While you're there, ask him also for a heart, so that you can see the pain and anguish of the doctors and their patients. And finally, some courage, so that you might admit that you've got this wrong, and take a step back, get to the negotiating table and work out a contract with our doctors that is safe, that is fair, that is right for doctors, right for patients and right for the future of the NHS. Finally, to our doctors, please do not give up your fight. You truly are fighting for the future of a healthcare system that, despite its flaws, is the envy of the world. If this fails, we will end up with private care. I am uninsurable in a private care system. I would not be able to afford the feed that goes down my feeding tube or my routine medications. If this fails, I will be left to tell my family to leave me to die, because I wouldn't be able to afford my care. I never want you as doctors to be in a position where you have to tell a mother, a father, a son, a brother that you can't treat their relative because they can't afford the care. So I need you to continue fighting, because this is too important to lose. And I'll leave you with one final thought. When I die, let it be because medicine is unable to save me, and not because I'm unable to afford the medicine to try.